All right, so I wanted to talk to you today about some common misconceptions, 12 college planning myths that I and my wife, Pearl, who runs the practice here at Lockwood College Consulting, that we have seen over many years of doing this. I've been advising families with college-bound students for about 14 years. Our main site is collegeplanningGuru.com. Let's get right into these myths. I guess before we get right into these myths, you may be wondering who the hell is Andy Lockwood and why should you listen to him? I'll keep this brief because it's just not that interesting, at least to most people. I wrote a book, How to Pay Wholesale for College. I hosted the College Planning Power Hour radio show on ESPN Radio in Fort Lauderdale. I told you I'm a late stage. I guess I told you I'm a college consultant. I didn't mention the late stage part or the attorney part. Late stage means that a lot of people blow this off. They put it off to the last minute, and I get involved right before it's too late. And I don't always mention the attorney stuff because, well, who likes bragging that they're an attorney? Or who wants to hear about someone being an attorney? Let's be honest. But all my lame jokes aside, the real reason that I am in this career, I founded this firm, is because I was, I guess, inspired, which is a weird word to use, by the fact that I had a very rough time in college and law school and after, really, racking up a huge amount of college debt. Still haunts me today in the middle of the night sometimes. And my personal mission really is to make sure that I do whatever I can to help families, kids, parents, you name it, avoid going through anything remotely what I went through. Okay. So let's get right into the myths. Myth number one, financial aid is for low-income families only. Now, there's plenty of financial aid for low-income families. However, the families that get financial aid, the largest, I guess, number of families are actually from the top quartile in income. The six-figure earning families of America get financial aid. Kind of weird, right? But it's not. And the reason that they get so much money, and by the way, the average discount that private schools give, private colleges give, the ones with the high sticker prices, the average discount is 45%. Meaning they'll give discounts off of the tuition bill of 45%. So if you are paying a $60,000 a year, looking at a school that costs $60,000, you have a very good shot at getting that number into the 30s. Now, some of this money is based on financial need, which is income, assets, and a whole lot of other stuff, including number of kids in school at the same time. Some of this is based on merit, but the bottom line is that you don't have to be a low-income family. You can earn six figures, and the other thing is you can have a kid who is a good student, but not necessarily God's gift to academia, qualify for a lot of money. So let's move on to myth two. Myth two is a little more, I guess, big picture. College financial aid offices can help you with financial aid. And a lot of parents think this because, well, who could blame them? You look at websites, you look at mailers, you look at some newspaper advertisements and online advertisements. We give financial aid. We want to make school affordable for all of you, so on and so forth. Keep in mind that colleges are businesses. What you are looking at when you see those types of statements is marketing. For example, Northeastern University, which is now, this year, 2014, as I'm recording this, it's been pretty hard to get into. A lot of kids have got deferred from Northeastern that I really thought were going to get in this year. Northeastern sent out 200,000 pieces of direct mail in 2012. I don't know the number for 2013. But these schools are in this, they're engaged in this, it's like a death match, I call it like a Jean-Claude Van Damme awful cage match type of movie where they are, going after kids. They need to fill their seats. And it's not so much kids chasing after colleges. It's really the other way around. So that's why after you sign up for the PSAT and get results, you start getting bombarded with emails and mailers and in many cases phone calls, frequently from colleges you never heard of. They are going after you, and they need money in order not just to pay for marketing, but of course to pay salaries. A lot of university presidents make seven-figure salaries. Plenty make deep six-figure salaries. They have to build dorms that are state of the art. I'm sorry, they are residences. They're no longer dorms because it's hard to use the word dorm to describe a a studio with granite countertop and flat panel TVs and all that. They have to build the latest, greatest athletic facilities. The lap pools, and some schools have these lazy rivers and steam facilities, and you name it, rock climbing walls. So they're in business. They are not necessarily in the best position to advocate for you to help you figure out a way to pay them less because they want more out of you. Myth 3. College admissions is based mostly on grades and standardized test scores. Now look, grades and scores are important, but guess what percentage that of students at a typical private competitive college, guess what percentage of kids are admitted based on non-academic reasons? How many, or what fraction of kids get in because of things other than grades and scores? Ready? It's not 10%, it's not 20%. It's at least a third, at least 33%. In many cases, it's 2/3, it's 66%, and I've seen people say estimate 80%. So I just call it 2/3. 66% of the class is reserved for kids who come from different backgrounds, who have certain hooks. So what are examples? International students, minorities, athletes, legacies, people who kids whose parents went there. What about wealthy families that are likely to contribute to the school's endowment? That's 2/3 of the class. So if you are trying to get in and you don't meet any of those criteria because you're a plain old white kid, from Long Island, where I am, or another sort of affluent area, and you're looking at a school that admits 10% of its gross number of applicants, I think your real percentage is like 5%. I think it's tough. It's tough to get in, much harder than the published rates. So that's why you should know that myth. Myth 4: your guidance counselor can help you with financial aid. I'm not bashing guidance counselors, although a lot of my clients do, and for the most part I agree. But look, I am in a guidance counselor trade association. I do count a handful of them as friends. There are bad guidance counselors, yes, and look, there are bad lawyers, accountants, even college planners, lazy college planners. The reason that you shouldn't really rely on your guidance counselor to help you with financial aid is because they just don't have the time or the resources, and you shouldn't expect them to understand the 1,100 pages of regulations behind the federal form, FAFSA, which is the easier one, let alone the CSS profile, which is really, really complicated. So I've seen situations where a local high school near my office, which shall remain nameless, they sponsored a financial aid night. It may not have actually happened this year. I think it's coming up this year. I'm recording this in early January 2014. And the issue is that probably 2/3 of this class at this high school applied early action or early decision, which means that their forms probably went in around November. So it's too late for them for a big chunk of this class, which is a very competitive high school. So don't rely on guidance counselors to help you with financial aid. They can give you some basic information, but they miss out on a lot because it's such a complicated, complex field. Now, can your guidance counselor help you in other ways with strategic college selection? This is a complaint I get all the time, that my guidance counselor recommended the same 30 schools as the other 5 kids who had appointments before and after me. I don't think they do a good job. If I were to take them to task in some area that I wish they could do better, it would be on strategic college selection. So what I mean by strategic, I don't mean only target, reach, and safety. What I mean also is acknowledging that these schools are very much involved with competing with each other. So it's a good idea to apply to schools, to at least have a handful of schools on your list that compete with each other. Therefore, when you get in, you can get awards, whether they're merit-based or need-based, then you can play them off against each other and possibly improve them. That's a big reason. The other thing is, look, I was only half kidding. People do tend to apply to the same 30 schools. They're overlooking a ton of lesser known. Yeah, maybe they have lower ranks, but the ranking it's a funny thing. It's very easy for colleges to jigger their rankings, and their rankings are made up of a whole bunch of factors, but nowhere in the rankings will you find anything about quality of education. And these schools, these gem hidden schools, go overlooked a lot by guidance counselors. So they don't always do such a great job, and a lot of times kids are applying to the same set of schools. It's application incest. That's what I call it. Okay, myth number 6. Joining a lot of clubs looks good for college. Every college wants kids who are involved with stuff, but they can also smell it a mile away. They know when a kid just does stuff to look good, a joiner rather than someone who goes deep. A big buzzword that I don't really like that you see colleges, admissions offers talk about. We want to see your passion. What are you passionate about? I'm kind of passionate about lying on my couch and watching football. I don't think that would get me into college today or get me a job anywhere. But what they're really looking for is not so much someone who joins a lot of clubs, but someone who's different, someone who's interesting, someone who's atypical, someone who engages in atypical teen activities, not just joining a lot of clubs. Myth 7. Your accountant, CPA, wealth manager, stockbroker, etc. can help you with financial aid. I talked before about why guidance counselors are not a good source. Same thing here. These guys they're very, usually the good ones are very on top of, abreast of all of the rules and regulations that change constantly for taxes and for other related fields, but they don't know necessarily how the financial aid rules work. So, case in point, a lot of accountants, stockbrokers, etc., recommend that you establish savings accounts for your kids in certain types of accounts like UTMA, UGMA, 529, whatever. Great advice for many people from a tax perspective, because your earnings grow tax-free. You can pull them out, pull out the money without paying taxes, so on and so forth. The issue, though, is that in most cases, depending on the schools you're applying to, those savings accounts will penalize you 400% greater than if the money were in your own name. So if you're going to qualify for need-based financial aid and you have money saved in your kids' names, you could be destroying your chances of financial aid that you would have otherwise gotten. So that's why I say sometimes the advice of these guys, accountants and other financial planner type people, can actually slaughter your chances of getting financial aid. So you got to be careful about who you listen to. I spent a lot of time in my practice looking over these types of accounts and figuring out, well, what would happen if we were to withdraw money and stash the funds in a different type of account that doesn't count against you. And so, in other words, I'm undoing a lot of this bad advice. So be very careful. Okay, myth number 8. A college consultant can get you into a top college. I love this one because I hear this from time to time from prospective clients. I hear this from other of my colleagues. I was just talking to my old partner down in Florida about this exact thing. People say, "Do you have connections at Duke?" Do those types of things. And the answer is that it doesn't matter whether I have connections or not. And I will tell you just flat out, I'm not one of these guys who goes around to 250 colleges a year and glad handles admissions officers and all that. But even if I were, and by the way, the other thing I should tell you is, but on the other hand, I do have some relationships with people, but admissions people. I will tell you though that any admissions officer at a college will tell you flat out they do not take recommendations from private consultants, because that's a conflict. If you are looking for someone to advocate for you directly to the school, it's got to be your guidance counselor in high school, assuming that they know your name. Okay, that was a cheap shot. I get it. Sorry. You also might, if you're going to a private school, a lot of times the private school college advisors have connections, have relationships, and can sometimes sway a borderline admissions candidate, who's sitting there on the fence. But by and large, no one gets you into college. You get yourself in to a top college. You take the actions, you implement, you do what they're looking for. That's the bottom line. So I just got a couple of nice emails 2 or 3 weeks ago before the holidays here from a couple clients saying, "Wow, I got into my first choice school early. Thank you for one person said thank you for I couldn't have done it without you." And I wrote her back. I was like, "Look, I know I helped you. I know we spent, I don't know, 25 we went through 25 drafts of your essays or something, but you did the work. I gave you a little bit of help, but you actually did it. You got yourself in. I was just there kind of coaching you in the background. Kids get themselves in, no one else." Myth 9. This may seem a little contradictory, but hey, it's a free presentation. Go complain, get a refund. No, I'm kidding. Myth 9. Parents should be completely uninvolved. What does that mean? Well, there's sort of a prevailing thought, particularly in affluent communities, that parents are too involved. They're over involved, and they're butting in too much. And I agree. However, I don't think they should be completely uninvolved. So there's a line that should not be crossed. So, for example, I've had a couple of clients this year who have written essays for their kids. That's a line that I don't feel comfortable with crossing. That should not happen. Kids should write their own essays. No one should write an essay for the kid. However, when it comes to administrative or administrivial type tasks like scheduling appointments or helping fill out basic biographical information on an application, like a common application or something, yeah, that's fine. Help the kids with managing the workload, the time management, that type of stuff. Don't cross a line. So it's okay to be involved. I welcome that. I like it when parents are involved and supportive. Myth 10. Every kid and parent has a nervous breakdown during this process. Partial myth. There are some kids who have, it's funny. I remember earlier this fall, I was getting ready to speak at a local library, and I got a text, "Hey, such and such is having a nervous breakdown. Can you call us?" And I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, sign me up for that." That's really what I feel like doing. A, because I'm sensitive, and B, I'm qualified. I'm a qualified therapist. Not. So here's the deal. You do not have to have a nervous breakdown during the process. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of chit chat. It's a frenzy. It's a weird rite of passage for today's teens. But if you start early enough and you are diligent and you chunk down your work and you're on a schedule, by the time that it comes time to submit applications and so forth, you will feel much more confident, and you will have this clear path, and you'll be happy that you've already done the work. And that, I won't say that eliminates the possibility of a nervous breakdown, but you're at the point where you're like, you know what, I've given it my best shot. I've done everything I can. And that's really what this is all about, giving it your best shot. All right, myth 11, you should learn as much as you can about the college planning process. Now, I think, to quote the philosopher Cy Sims from Sims, whatever, clothing store, an educated customer is the best customer. I do think you should be educated, but there comes a point in time where you have information overload between all these websites, College Confidential, College Board, emails from the schools, the chit chat in the hallways at school, Facebook, you name it. There's too much information at some point. You got to know when to shut off the fire hose. And what I was saying before is I look at my job as being able to provide clarity and confidence and eliminating the distractions. Myth 12, you should start the summer of senior year. That's just too late. Look, I work with plenty of kids then, but you have fewer options. If at all possible, do not put it off until summer. There's still a lot of work that has to be done then, and that's when most people actually start, but I wish they would start earlier. Second half of sophomore year, even junior year would be better. If you want our help, schedule a free consultation, a free mini strategy session. Go on our website, collegeplanningguru.com, hit contact, and the button on that site, and you'll see how to do it. We can help you provide that clear path. We can help you eliminate a lot of the noise and the clutter and the distraction and set you on a clear path, not only for admissions but also for how to pay for college. And just real quick, our recipe for success is applying to the right schools, meaning fishing in the right pond strategically, knowing which schools have more money than others, which schools are competing with each other. The next one is, how do you present yourself? Marketing. This is a marketing exercise. I don't care if you don't like it. That's the truth. You have to give them what they're looking for. And the last, step 3, financial aid loopholes and negotiating tactics. You got to learn how, which money counts against you more than others. There's a lot of loopholes and exemptions, particularly if you're a 6-figure earning family, if you are a business owner, and colleges will negotiate after the fact, even after they give a so-called final offer. That's the 3 steps. So thank you for watching. You can schedule a mini strategy session if you want. It's for free. We block out 6 or 8 slots per week. It's on my website, collegeplanningguru.com. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.